I was cleaning out my elastic drawer, straightening it up. I had little bits and pieces of elastic, and I saw this ribbon. The ribbon does not say Saks Fifth Avenue, but for some reason, because of the script, I thought of Saks Fifth Avenue, and then that made me think, Ann Lowe had a shop at Saks Fifth Avenue, and what were those circumstances? So I just decided to go to the internet and look it up and see what I can find. But there's more to that story than just her having a shop at Saks Fifth Avenue. And although that feels like, wow, she had a shop, the black woman to have a first black woman, I think she was the first black woman, I'm not sure about that, 100% sure, but oh, she had a shop at Saks Fifth Avenue. And yes, that would be, a feather in anyone's cap. But there's more to that tea than just the fact that she had a shop at Saks Fifth Avenue. So I'm reading this part of the story about Saks Fifth Avenue and Ann Lowe from the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And that's in DC. Y'all see my video. Really a fabulous museum, but this is very interesting about her and her work. There's a lot to be said. I mean, I would even love to see a movie based on her life, which would be very, very interesting. So y'all can just chime in the comments who you think should play Ann Lowe. I think that would be interesting. I'm going to read you from the actual website and what the article that was written, or the essay, that was written on the portion that says Saks Fifth Avenue, the Atom Room, 1960 to 1962. And the whole idea of her getting there, had to do with her son was in a terrible car accident and died. But her son was the one that helped take care of the business, the actual business part of it. And when he died, she had that portion of the business died. And there are so many designers that happens to. She is not alone in that. But I mean, the list is long of people who had other people managing their business, even family members, people who did good for their bit, but then they died, and their business then failed because of that aspect of it, and they had really no knowledge. So you got to have the business knowledge for your business, or keep paying your bills, that's for sure. In 1960, Saks Fifth Avenue was one of the leading American luxury department stores, specializing in debutante and wedding gowns for elite women in the country. In 1956, Saks dedicated a space exclusive service for these customers. Mrs. Edward Ewan Connor, the founding manager, named the space the Atom Room in honor of Adam Gimbel, head of Saks. Shortly after, Lowe closed her salon. There were a bunch of things that had gone on, like I explained about the son dying, the business dying, she was in debt. I'm stepping in here to say, apparently on that interview with Mike Douglas, it was $12,000. She was $12,000 in debt. And he even says, I bet the Kennedys paid that debt. So take a look at that interview with her. This is in her own words, and you see a bit of a fashion show, which is really, really sweet. And, you'll hear from her point of view about what was going on for her company and how she came about. Mr. Douglas does ask some questions. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you're not as popular? How come people don't know about you? Dude, come on now. You know why. It's a very nice interview, so check it out. You'll see the link. And now back to my original post. Shortly after Lowe closed her salon, Saks invited her to work at the Adam Room. The offer was a prestigious affiliation for Ann Lowe. I mean, it was like, oh, wow, this major department store wants me. You know, so I'm sure it was fabulously to be offered that. Saks' official ad, the silhouette of Ann Lowe, publicized the business arrangement, declaring, Saks Fifth Avenue takes pride in announcing that the debut and bridal gown collection created by Ann Lowe can now be found exclusively in the Adam Room. You have to remember, she had already created Kennedy's wedding gown that had received a lot of fanfare. That was a big deal. She had also created gowns for actresses that had won the Oscars, one being Hattie McDaniels, the other one Olivia de Havilland. So she was no stranger to success in dealing with, you know, a particular clientele. It wasn't like she was coming unloaded. The contract was extremely uneven and not to Lowe's advantage. In exchange for the workroom, she brought with her coveted list of select clients. So she had the people. She had the people that she was going to bring to the table. Opportunity, fine, yeah, I'll bring my list of people. Good. Saks set the final sale prices for the garments. Ultimately, Lowe was paid significantly less than the labor and materials she put into the dresses. By the time she realized the extent of her losses, she was deep in debt. In 1962, she left Saks and opened a small workshop on 53rd Street. It's just disappointing that a woman of her skill and stature would have had to deal with this financial thing hanging over her head while she was making sure customers were happy, while she was dealing with the finest of fabrics. She still had to deal with this BS that and be taken advantage of. Those are things that are disappointing, but Ann Lowe still left a legacy. That Saks Fifth Avenue is just a small little piece of her life. Ann Lowe made a difference, left a difference. She leaves a legacy. We should remember her. There is so much more to her. Thank you.